All right, let's see. How about this? Oh dear. Let's see. I see it now. Is it happening? I see data. I see data flow. Oh dear. I'm so sorry. Something went just horribly awry. And I should have known when I came into the... Oh, thank God. Oh, I should have known when I walked in the studio this morning that there was an issue with the keyboards, and they were showing boot up screen, and they've been on for days and days and days. Recently, because of previous technical issues, I always just check, and I check the mic. Sometimes there's a little digital mixer in the path, and sometimes it freezes up, and I don't catch it until I go live. So I checked everything, and it all looked good. But what I didn't see, because it showed on the broadcast studio that it was happening, but it wasn't getting out. So, oh dear, I'm so sorry. The blessed curse of technology. Well, thank you now, and that's why apparently you were saying I was so into the noodles that I didn't know what was going on in chat. So I guess here's your noodles for today. All right, there you go. There's your noodles for today. Right? Sound guy's first day in a job, right? I've screwed up way bigger shows than this. Oh, brother. Well, that's kind of and we're done. Thanks. Have a nice day. Oh, great jibbity jeebers. I know, right? Amateur hour. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it all seemed really, really good. Oh man. All right. OBS usually works, but until it doesn't. So there you go. All right. Where was I? Oh dear. I had stuff to say, but you know what? It's probably just as well. We'll just drop back 5 yards and punt. I know, right? Oh dear. Well, the revelation that I was going to throw at you this morning actually wasn't from the book of Revelation. I was just, we've been sort of conditioned with semantic drift to think that Revelation means the end. It's not the end. It's a revealing, right? To unveil. And so I was just going to reveal some things this morning, trying to catch you up with what's been going on a bit. There have been some things going on, and so give me just a moment. I'll try to get some tabs. I had to reboot the computer to do the whole thing. It's just nutty. Let's see if that was okay. All right, yeah, we'll start there. Okay, so we got that. I am so sorry. It is amateur hour, and it's been a weird, wacky week. So Revelation this morning. So I'm actually not going to read from Revelation, although I may read from the, read from Psalms. But yeah, I know, Mojo, you're here for the gravy, and I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody being here, those who stayed. Low traffic this morning. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. Stuff happens. I know it's just wacky, but you know what? Perhaps it's all for the best. I trust Dad with all this stuff. It's just gonna be the way it is. I had said earlier that I might just pull this and be private afterwards anyway. We'll just make this a little meeting for us. How about that? Nothing fancy, nothing formal. So let's start here. As you, those of you who visit frequently know, I have been struggling with some health issues, some undiagnosed, undetermined health issues for quite a while now, and it's been frustrating to say the least. And it certainly has been unpleasant. The Protestant joke. Yeah, okay, I will cover that. You got. I'll do it at the end so that those who are sensitive can get out before I drop that on you. It's funny though. All right, so I have been struggling with some health issues, undiagnosed, and been trying to figure it out. It's in so much support and encouragement from the family. I appreciate you all very much. And it was driving Mrs. Baldini crazy because she hates to see me in that kind of condition. And even one of our local listeners, Brian, he got the opportunity to see me going through an episode of about 3 out of 10, really. Poor kid thought I was going to just drop dead right there, I'm afraid. Um, but apparently I'm too stubborn to die. It had been kind of weird. I take note of all sorts of things. There's all kinds of information that comes to me in a variety of different ways, and I pay attention. One of the things is I had been given a lot of YouTube suggestions for one reason or another, showing people really doing video blogs of their last days as they struggle with cancer, heartbreaking stories of mostly young, healthy people suddenly get cancer and it takes them too quickly. And I thought, oh dear, I'm not quite done yet. On the other hand, I've noted as we go through this world that apparently my self-preservation instinct has become broken. In that, were that to be the case, I don't think I would seek to hang on any longer. I'm not in a hurry to get out, but there's no point in going through all that and having a terrible quality of life for a few more minutes. And one of the things that I have noted is that is one of the primary tools of fear that they get us with, is the fear of death. That people will do almost anything for just a few more minutes. They're terrified of dying. I am not. Again, I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm not afraid. And that certainly makes a difference in the way that I approach things. I'm not suggesting that for anyone else. I'm just saying that that's my take. So it's been a really difficult road. It has been, frankly, fucking up my life. It gets in the way of my work. It gets in the way of what I'm trying to do here. This last week, I had to leave right in the middle of a Secrets of Saturn stream. It's pretty awful. In fact, this morning, I got up very early and made probably one of the best cups of coffee I've ever had. I know, right? And 20 minutes later, I threw it up. And that's hard. So the other thing is that, of course, it's been undiagnosed. I don't have health insurance because I'm a contractor. No, John, no, I totally get it. I heard what you were saying, John, in chat. No, I totally get that. And nothing taken right like that. In fact, I made comment briefly on that this morning as well, that stream and that thing. This, again, it's just going to be an informal chat this morning. So, yeah, it's been really a struggle, and I just feel like I always have to apologize to everybody because I'm not getting the things done that I want to. It's been affecting work and personal life as well. And certainly, again, I hate being the turd in the punch bowl. I don't want to always have bad news for you guys. But so, again, not having health insurance because I'm a contractor, self-employed. I can't afford a medical wild goose chase. And especially in an allopathic system that's not really here to, it's for profit, right? All right. So we had a number of considerations. I tried to narrow it down, making some changes here, there. You can't do everything at once because then you don't know what the hell's going on. So had been seeing bits and pieces of improvement with some diet, moving this and that. And so finally I was able to get, and the other thing, of course, with the whole Cranani thing going on when you don't have a primary care physician and you have to make a new appointment, it's difficult to get in, especially when you're paying cash. So it took a while to be able to get in. And I did finally get an appointment to see a doctor just to kind of cover the bases. So we did, one of the things that we did was a full blood workup and do a complete panel. And so I got the results of that yesterday, and I'll violate all kinds of HIPAA laws by walking you through some of it this morning. and let you know what I know in terms of what's going on and what the next steps are in that regard. So the first thing I want to say is, again, thank you so much for all of your support and just the kindness. Yeah, Mark, don't. Yeah. All right. So, again, just thank you so much for your kindness and your support, your suggestions, your encouragement, and your prayers. Thank you so much. I'm so ever so appreciative. This is what makes this community beautiful, is that we support one another, lift each other up. Thank you. I really can't thank you enough. So here's what we got so far. So the blood panel included a variety of things. It was a pretty extensive blood panel. It was really, again, a place to start. And I couldn't, again, I can't afford a wild goose chase. I needed a place to start. So here's what we got. Glucose levels, perfect. Here's a thing that, this has annoyed people all my life. When I was in my early 20s, in fact, where I worked for a corporation in Texas, and they brought in a medical team to do some quick lab work to emphasize healthiness. And this was just about the time when cholesterol had always been pitched as a bad thing, but they had just this was in the early 90s, and they were just kind of separating good cholesterol from bad cholesterol, that sort of stuff. And despite the fact that I have been rode hard and put away wet most of my life, I have apparently tried really hard to damage the temple. I've been unsuccessful for the most part in doing so. Up until, 7 or 8 years ago, I'd never, ever broken a bone. Anything like it, never been seriously ill, ever. And so, yeah, I did the blood work up then. The cholesterol was better than perfect, and they were quite irritated. I was like, why are you mad? Later, and this was, it's been about 15 years ago now, I was doing an event in Salt Lake City, working an event, and suddenly I had all the symptoms of a heart attack. Chest pains, a pain that went down my left arm and radiated downward, headache, just really all the signs of impending or having just had a heart attack. And it was worrisome. So there were paramedics there, fire department was there because of the nature of the event. And they immediately gave me nitroglycerin, took me to the hospital. I spent the better part of the day in the ER. And they did all kinds of tests. And ultimately they did a stress test. And the technician had been really trying, he was waiting because he really wanted to punch me in the face with the fact that I was a long-time smoker and didn't really take good care of myself. And the doctor came in and looked at the results and said, well, that's not it. You got the heart of Superman. The guy was pissed. He was ever so frustrated because he couldn't give me the come to Jesus meeting that he was hoping for. But that's not it. I have almost preternaturally good health. And for which I've been very thankful. And again, for which my wife is ever so irritated because she has such a litany of medical history that her differential diagnosis is, she's so good at it. Frankly, she kind of nailed this when we were going through this. She kind of put her finger on it very early on, but it was a variety of things. And there was some very strange presentations that I better understand now. So when she saw the blood work, when I came home with it yesterday, she was like, fuck you, you asshole. In love, of course. But yeah, perfect cholesterol, better than perfect, perfect glucose. All the workups, potassium, chloride, calcium, phosphorus, protein, just right on, right where it all should be. And the only thing that was weird here was the LDH, which is you're looking at the liver enzymes, and this has been something that's been in my panel for a long time. Probably 20 years, that there's been just some elevated enzymes. They always say, kind of nothing to write home about. This is not immediately threatening, but it did keep me out of a medical test at one point. There was a trial thing for back pain back when I would have done it. I wouldn't do it now. But it disqualified me because of that elevated liver panel. and the lipids. So so that's okay. That's good. Let's see the other stuff here. Hemoglobin. Oh, so I have elevated white blood count. And this is indicative, of course, of you probably have an infection of some kind. Not surprising. I have had, I've mentioned this before, a number of dental issues. I've got a number of embarrassingly broken teeth, and they often do get a little bit of infection, sometimes even an abscess. Need to get that taken care of, but again, that's a very expensive process and something which I can't afford I've been scrimping and saving for months and months and months and months and months just to try to get the basic work done. Because, it's embarrassing, honestly. Like I almost didn't go to Flattoberfest just because I was so embarrassed having lost some teeth. It's just, it's terrible. Anyway, so need to get that fixed. But that's not a surprise that there would be that going on. But it could be some other stuff too. So keep going. Again, I'm violating all kinds of HIPAA rules here. But you're my friends and my family, so I would tell my family. And so that's what I'm doing. So slightly elevated platelet white blood count. Everything else seems good there. Again, nothing. And here's the thing about the rest of it, especially the glucose levels. There's nothing to indicate cancer, anything like that. So that's good. That was one of my big concerns, was that it might be something along those lines. One of the things that I'd considered is electromagnetic radiation. There still is a possibility that that's an influence, but what it seems most likely at this point, we'd kind of narrowed it down to a couple of things already before we even saw this panel, which was CVS, cyclical vomiting syndrome, which is kind of a catch-all for we don't really know. You just regularly throw up. Well, it's awesome. And there's no treatment for it. And that's still on the table. But what seems most likely at this time is it's a gallbladder. It's be CBD, not the CBD oil, but the common bile duct in between the gallbladder and the liver, and the inflammation also. So we're not sure if I'm going to have to do a ultrasound at the minimum to see if there's a blockage there, if that's a gallstone, or if it's inflammation of the CBD, and what can be done about that. There's going to be dietary changes, and one of the things, of course, is the heavy cream in my coffee. Oh, it's going to have to go for a while. I can't eat fatty foods. So this is a place where I am going to. So I talked to Wayne McCrory this morning, and his wife has gone through a similar thing. She actually had to have her gallbladder removed, and I'm desperately hoping to avoid that because it changes your life completely about what you can eat and not eat. And I love food. I always get worried about the the text that says that those whose God is in their belly. Like, oh dear. So I'm looking now for, and so everybody has been super kind, sending all kinds of recommendations or things to try. Even some people sent some homeopathic remedies, which is awesome. Some of them not cheap. Thank you, Jen, for the stuff from Dr. Clive and the fulvic minerals. So I'm going to try a bunch of stuff, but if you have specific information regarding gallbladder and healing remediation for that, gallbladder and liver, something that does need to be taken care of, once that's addressed, I think we'll be in a better position to reevaluate. So much to the great dismay of my detractors, I probably am not going to die this week. Damn it. So, yeah, David, I hear you, man. Me too, for a while. Those busted chiclets, man, not cool. And they charge an arm and a leg for that stuff. I mean, they charged me. I went in just to get, the assessment and get some X-rays. Like $300, almost $500 just to get the thing and the X-rays and all that stuff. Just to see what needs to be done. It's ridiculous. And I'm just not made of money. And nor do I want to be. All right, so there's that. So again, thank you so much for your prayers and your concern and your encouragement. I'm certainly not out of the woods yet. Only really just begun, but we have a direction, I think. There's still a possibility that cyclical vomiting thing is still on the table, but it does seem most likely that it's related to gallbladder and liver. So we'll address it that way. So. Yeah, right. No, I'll take that, Mojo. Like I'm totally down that Dad could just touch me and it's all done. So I would love that. I'll take all of that I can get. So In that sense, again, thank you. I just don't really, I'm not sure what else to say other than I'm not looking forward. I'm not looking forward to it. Another friend of mine said that she'd gone through very similar things as well, and the first thing she had to give up was coffee. And I was like, no, a day without coffee is like night. I've perfected, after years, perfected coffee, and then I have to give it up. No. Oh dear. And I've even tried to, see about trying to get some cheap insurance or whatever. But by the time you put it all together, you're paying somebody. I don't know. Have I taken any antibiotics? I did when I had a bad abscess several months ago. I had to do a course of antibiotics because it was killing me. It was literally poisoning me. And so as much as I regret that I had to, I would always prefer to take the natural route and avoid any sort of allopathic medication if possible. Sometimes I just got to go with what, pain drives you. Not afraid of dying, but I really don't like the pain. No, I have a really super high tolerance to pain, but I don't like it. And if it's unnecessary, and don't want to have to do that. So that's the circumstance there. I think that's, without beating it to death, that's what we're looking at. Again, if you have specific ideas, suggestions on gallbladder and liver and how to address that, I'll definitely take a look at that, and I appreciate that. Of course, the contact information is in the show notes, and you can have a look at that. Let's see, other things. Oh yeah, I had this up before I had to restart, so I'll have to deal with this. So how's your day? How's your day going? I'm sorry, this is so boring. Started off with not even anything happening. So, let's see, that's not the right one. Yeah, so it's been a really super great day. Is this it? That's not it. All right, let's see if I can find it now. I have a couple of other things I want to share. This is sort of just random stuff. It's not the right one. So I hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to share with you a few other things. Is this one? Yeah, this is the one I want. So I shared this on Poppycock Report the other day, that the local police have begun emblazing this. Now, this is a specific vehicle, community health and safety, but this is also on the bottom now of the police vehicles. You can see my mouse here. It runs, the police vehicles are black and kind of a silver and gold, and it runs along the bottom here. It says community, it says health and safety. So that's what they're, that's how they're going to become the medical Stasi. So we got that going for us, which is nice. The other thing that I was going to show you is that an employee of Amazon sent this to me. Hope they don't get in trouble for it. They are, of course, encouraging people to get the jab. It's not surprising. They are, however, going to pay you to get it. And keep in mind, if things are free, you're the product. We've seen flu shots for some time being offered for free, or even going to give you $20 worth of groceries. And they do that. But now Amazon is going to give their employees $40 or up to $80 if they get the jab. Here's the part that I found particularly unsettling about this note to their employees. Am I required to receive the COVID-19 vaccine? It's voluntary at this time, however. And there's the however, there's the but. It's not for long. But they say, we ask that you get vaccinated when you're eligible. All approved COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. And this, again, I understand that the times we live in, it's not going to fly very well. But under normal circumstances, you could sue them. They are not a health practitioner. And no medication. is 100% safe. There are side effects listed for every single one. They have no way. Most medications that you get from the pharmacy, they don't even understand the mechanism. It simply does a thing in enough people, enough percentage, that it is prescribed. Many things are off-label. They've designed it for one thing. It works for another thing, and they prescribe it for that. Any honest pharmacist will tell you this, that they don't understand the mechanism in most of it. To say that any medication is safe is wildly irresponsible and I think criminally liable. Moreover, again, you know what this is. Even if everything that they were saying about it is true, something that was brought into the market this quickly without the test, to say that it is safe and effective is a lie. And again, I think they should be able to be held criminally liable for this. I think you should be able to take them to court because that statement is demonstrably not true. As has been mentioned in the chat, this is not even a regular vaccine. It is an mRNA. There's no adjuvant in it because they've never isolated this. I guess I blew my little experiment this morning. I have all the unintended consequences stream, which is the only one that I monetize of late, have been deemed unsuitable for advertising by our friends at YouTube. So I was curious this morning if I just didn't say anything about any of those topics, if it would fly, because I know it won't. They just targeted my channel for content, and because the same people come, they know who we associate with, and you guys show up, and they just assume that, just like on the Poppycock report, we now get a Q tag from Wikipedia. Like, yeah, we support Q. It's preposterous. So yet more of the censorship coming. Anyway, I advised this person who sent me this that you might even want to check with an attorney, see if there's a case, because even under the conditions, this seems like again, they're giving medical advice. It's safe and effective. We want you to get it. That's unconscionable, in my opinion. Where can I get the vaccine? They're going to put it right there on site. And again, this comes from the HR department. So I think there's grounds for suit, but we'll see. Under the current conditions, and we know what's likely to happen here, they'll just immediately brand you as a conspiracy theorist, and nobody's likely to take the case. But if you could find an attorney who's can ignore the cancel culture and go directly after, they cannot act as they're not a medical practitioner. They can't give you medical advice, and to pay you to get it, coercion. All right. Let's see what else I had this morning. I told you it was going to be just a weird stream. This is probably going to get pulled. I'm going to mention something, and I normally don't do anything like this, but I just wanted to clarify a few things, I think. The stream that I had to leave this week from was the Secrets of Saturn stream. I thought it was an interesting topic. When Jason asked me if I wanted to join on that topic, I said, I don't know how much I have to ask. You know my take on it, on cryptocurrency, which is that, I don't. It's again, my view on it. It is simply a part of the Overton window designed to push people into accepting a cryptocurrency, a virtual currency, to replace something tangible. They've been leaning this way for a very long time. I haven't, for a period of time, I didn't have any money in my wallet for a period of years. It just, everything's electronic. Didn't see it. Most of us operate that way because that's what's convenient, but that's what they get you into. And so it should be just an easy switch to the idea of a cryptocurrency. And again, this is how they set it up. right? So that's kind of my take, is that it's just another aspect, and it ultimately, I think, again, if you read the book of Revelation, and Revelation 13, where it specifically says that no one be able to buy or sell without some kind of a mark. Now, is Bitcoin the mark of the beast? Oh, come on. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying it's this slippery slope, right? It's this Overton window to make something acceptable to get you there. Do I think there's anything wrong with Bitcoin? No. I mean, not any more that's wrong with money. Is it hypocritical of me to say, I'm not going to run around going, Bitcoin bad. Oh man, do what you want. It's like I'm trying to express this. It's like stocks, right? It's like anything. It's like any other monetary thing. It's based in the faith of the people who, of people, like they have a faith in whether it has value or not, and that's really what gives it its faith. Anything that's intangible that way, it's based on this perception. So, again, does that make it inherently evil? Of course not. That's silly. But from the outset, Crow wasn't having any of it because, if you know him, you know of his position, and I think many of us share a similar position anyway, that we're going to go, our preference, of course, is to always go with the natural world, and everything that the controllers have done is to try to create an unnatural world. And he has said several times, and again, this is his opinion, that when they flip the switch on this and switch the flip and make everything, cryptocurrency only, that will represent the least freedom that people have had. Again, that's his position. That's his view. I don't fully disagree with it. I don't think it's that clear cut. Frankly, I think that, but it's part of it. And again, so Jaron appeared, and he's a proponent of Bitcoin, and largely, I think, because he's spent time writing, these articles for it and getting paid in Bitcoin. Pretty clear, pretty easy to see that he regrets selling off those 40 Bitcoin, because he would be well set now. And from his position, he's like, why would they let me have the money? And again, those are odd questions. I think it just kind of shows that when you get sort of attached to something, then you want to defend it. And it seemed as though he was taking a personal attack when we're saying that we're uncomfortable with the idea of cryptocurrency generally, because it leads down the path to this thing. Not that we dislike or distrust, and maybe Bitcoin specifically, although I think Crow makes some valid points about Satoshi, and that the fact if you got to lie about who the creator is, and if you can't tell a straight story, that should make you, that should be a red flag. So again, it seemed to at times take on an unintended consequences, right? Unintended, I don't want to say antagonistic, because everybody's friends. But I heard Jaron talk about it the next two streams, both his Thursday show and Friday Lounge, those live shows. And I think his position on a lot of people is like, you guys just don't get it. I think, Crow made some comments about 15% of the code being seen. I think I know where he got that. It's not that straightforward. And Jaron's like, no, it's open source. It's not that clear cut either. But I think from what I observed, Jaron he's trying to answer objections in the same way. Well, again, he's doing a consulting thing, right? So I don't begrudge at all that Jaron wants to try to make money off of it. That's like any other commodity, right? Stock, monetary instrument. If there's an opportunity to make money, get down with your bad self. Yeah, my only position, and I think Crow is perhaps more outspoken about it, is that at least I can't really speak for him, just what I heard, but from my position, I'm trying the best I can to get out of the beast system. Is it hypocritical that I have to use money now? Yeah, I suppose it's like I don't have a lot of options. I'm not in a situation to where I can use barter or quid pro quo or other forms to do that, but I'm moving in that direction, right? I'm at least taking active steps to try to put myself in a position where I can exit that as much as possible. So just from my situation, I don't want to further invest in something I'm trying to get out of, right? And I don't begrudge anybody that sees it different. I'm not ever going to say, just because I see things a certain way, bad, oh, that's wrong. And we've been misled generally, again, to view anybody who disagrees with us or has a different view as being wrong. right? And in some cases, attacking us, right? If they see things or bring objections towards something that we accept, then we somehow feel personally attacked. And that seemed to be sort of on display a little bit, which I found unfortunate. Again, I have nothing against anybody there. I like Jaron. It seems in the few interactions I've had with him, that's not necessarily mutual. That's okay. Not everybody's going to like me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea or coffee. So it's okay, right? I'm not butthurt in any way about that. We only had a few interactions, and he just, didn't seem to ring his bell. That's fine. It's fine, But, it's never been antagonistic or anything. So again, my point then, and I'll just repeat it now, is that I just take this view again. What Jesus said was, if you lay up your treasures in earthly material things, even if it's gold, right? Even if it's tangible assets, real estate, whatever, you have natural disasters happen. If you have a beachfront property, it can go right into the ocean. Earthquakes can strike, tornadoes. It says clearly that if you invest in these things, that robbers can steal it, moths can come and eat it, right? You can eat your cash, literally, because it's cloth. And those things are temporary, and for sure you can't take it with you when you die. And I am of the mind that who we are continues. And I can't take those things with me. But what I can take with me is the things I think you can take are who you are and your relationships. And so those are the things that I want to invest in. And again, I understand Jaron has a very young child, just had a baby. He wants to make sure that's well taken care of. I applaud that, right? There's nothing at all wrong with that. Again, I would just choose a different way because I see things differently. And I think there's something to be said for the fact that both Crow and I are, a fair bit older. And so, we've seen certain things. Your priorities change a bit when you get older. And when I was younger, I saw things probably a bit more like Jaron did. And I was certainly, I can recall a time in my early 30s. I was working for an audio manufacturer, and I was very frustrated with the vice president of sales and marketing. He didn't really need to be the vice president of marketing because we had a good marketing director. He just wanted the title, and he wanted to be able to control things, frankly. I don't dislike the guy. We're still friends. But he, again, if you understand the process here, been around it, that sales is a tactical thing. It's a day-to-day process, while marketing is a much more strategic thing, and it takes time, right? Everything you do in a marketing sense takes minimum a year, right? Up to 24 to 36 months really to get traction. Of course, that was then with more printed material. It's a faster life cycle now because of the electronic nature of things, but it's still, you have to look out ahead. And so I would often get frustrated about this guy because, again, analysis paralysis, right? So afraid of doing the wrong thing that they did nothing. And ultimately it did cause the collapse of the company and to go bankrupt, and it shouldn't have been. It was a very popular brand. So during that time I was very, go. I'm a man of action. And so I didn't see the need for that. Of course, now, some 20 plus years later, what I see is that the more experience you have, the more you can see around more corners. And so you have to be, situational awareness counts, right? So again, there's just something to be said about a little bit more experience. Your priorities change a bit. That's all. And so for us, who the priority is to withdraw from the system rather than dig in. That's all. I didn't sense an argument or anything, although I feel like, again, from the comments that Jaron seemed to make afterwards, that he did feel like it was an argument or that we just didn't get it. And, I think Jaron probably knows more about the details of Bitcoin, but when it comes to cryptocurrency and the technology behind it and blockchain, I'm pretty hip to it, right? I just have my take on what that means to a society and why it's here. So that's all, right? And I don't think anybody who thinks differently is dumb, right, or just doesn't get it. I was very disappointed to see comments, oh, you have to have an IQ above 130 to get it. Come on, man. Let's not be that way with each other. But I see the same thing. Again, I don't. I'm not trying to call anybody. I'm not. I mean, because even like Jason, we're good friends. He has said on numerous occasions he thinks the idea of mud flood is stupid, and people hear. I mean, because to him it is. But people hear that and they feel, if they're into it, they feel like he tells them that they're stupid. Right. Sort of the same thing with Q people, right? They get part of it. And there is some aspects of truth in the Q movement. You're never going to get a trap. They don't work without bait. There's got to be some truth in there. Alex Jones drops truth, right? So the thing is that people have a tendency to take, if their beliefs are questioned, they take it personally. And I think it's unfortunate, and we see that too often, especially within the truth community. Again, we're trying to, the best we can do is try to filter out the lies, and I just don't think there's enough information for us to see all of it and to really be 100% sure about things. And I get, I don't know, a little queasy. It's off-putting to me when I see people who make statements of fact, especially with all caps and exclamation points, and, this is this, and, Trump is our savior, or this, I'm trying to think of examples, but, they state stuff, and it's, Sandra Bullock is a man. Now, there's evidence to support that, but do you know that for sure? No. And the more that you do those kinds of things, it just, I don't know, it looks bad. The optics are not good. I can't tell anybody what to do. You do you. But for me, it makes me uncomfortable when people make those kind of statements and draw those hard lines, and especially then begin to attack anybody who doesn't see things the same way, and especially in our community, calling them shills, or they're misleading people because they don't see things the same. Are there people who are putting out misinformation in our community on purpose? Yeah, I think there are a few, but not very many. Are there people who put out misinformation because they're mistaken? Yeah. Probably us, probably me, right? I mean, I always reserve the right to be completely wrong. I'm sure that I make mistakes. This is also why I try not to make statements of, positive statements of specificity and fact, because I don't know, right? I can tell you what my experience is, and I'm pretty sure about that, right? It's my experience, and so I hold to that. Hang on. I still had a cup of coffee this morning, so there you go. Anyway, I just, from my perspective, I think that we should be cautious and give each other a lot of latitude. One of the saddest things that happened, there was a guy I used to work with here in the Pacific Northwest. We worked for a company, and we were really close friends. It was common for us to go have several beers after work. Nearly every day we'd go have a couple of beers on the way home. We were good friends. And then as things happened, I took a job offer and moved elsewhere, moved to Los Angeles, and then later left that job, kind of semi-retired, held a music store in Northern California, studio, did some writing and that sort of stuff. And but one of the things that happened during that period of time, that's about when I gave up running from Dad and started, rediscovering or opening the door back out to that relationship. And of course, it was life-changing, life-altering for me. But this guy, when he found that out, he suddenly, he just decided he hated me, right? And for no other reason than, again, he had bad experiences with, quote, Christians, and so he had his ideas about what he thought that meant than what I was going to be. So suddenly he hated me and wouldn't talk to me. And without it even understanding, again, that the things that happen as a result of my relationship with Dad actually make me more of the things that he liked about me. He never knew that. He never knew, because I never really talked about it, right? He didn't know about my tenuous and weird relationship with Dad, even during the time we knew each other. We had a relationship. It was sort of standoffish. It just wasn't really a good one, right? Because I didn't trust him and I wasn't willing to engage fully. So he wasn't aware that the things that we had in common, the things that made me a good person were those things that Dad put in me. And so the closer I pulled into Dad, the more of that was in me. And he never got that. It didn't even give me the opportunity. When I moved back, years later, when I moved back in 2004 to Seattle, I tried to get a hold of him. We kind of connected on Facebook, but he was just an ass to me. And I got invited from people used to work with, so we were all former co-workers from that same company, went to a Super Bowl party. Went there, and he wouldn't even talk to me. It was heartbreaking. And he was a dick. It was heartbreaking. Again, I'm not saying he's a dick. I'm saying he was acting that way. And this is the what many people can't see is this difference between calling the behaviors and calling somebody a thing, right? To confuse those. I can say somebody is being an asshole. It doesn't mean they are an asshole. They're just acting that way. Doesn't mean I think they're a bad person. It means that they're behaving badly. And most people, unfortunately, are unable to separate those. So when you say, hey, you're behaving badly, they think you're saying, what they hear is, you're bad. And that's not the intention. It is a sign of emotional immaturity, but most people these days aren't very emotionally mature. But we see this more and more in our society, that people hate other people because what they think they believe. Those on the left have terrible vitriol for those on the right. Irrespective of what kind of person they are, they won't even give them a chance. They hate them. Similarly, there are those on the right who hate those on the left and have ideas about them without realizing that the social justice that they want, they've just been lied to. Everybody's been lied to. And so they've used our better nature to want to help people against us. And they've polarized us so that we now hate those who have different ideas, even within our own community. We become suspicious and we mock. How stupid are you that you believe, mud fossil? That's retarded. Well, no, it's not. There's some evidence there. Is it all the things the guy at Mud Fossil University says? No, he makes some pretty wild claims. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but it seems pretty wild to me, some of it. But some of it seems to be intriguing. So I keep an open mind to just about everything. And I don't always agree with everyone, right? So here's it for example. And again, probably one reason why I'll make this private, because I don't want to ruffle any feathers, and I'm not trying to talk about it. But these are all people that we know, right? And I think we're all friends. So Crow, for example, and Ben Balderson, they're really into alchemy. Super great. Is there information there that's valuable? I think so. Is it the end-all, be-all? I don't think so. Am I going to say they're wrong or they're dumb for pursuing that as its own end? Well, no, they're on their own journey, and they have a different perspective, and they see it a different way than I do, right? I don't dislike them or hate them or think they're dumb. Ben gives me a hard time from time to time, but we get along. I like the guy, right? But I don't dismiss him because his views are different than mine and his beliefs. That's silly, right? I relate to people in the way that they behave, right? Just act with respect and be a decent person. We'll get along, right? I'll be interested to know in what you think, even if I disagree with it. In fact, especially if I disagree with it, I'm interested to know. I want to know why you think that. I find all kinds of value in things that I don't believe, right? So I think information is just that. It's information, and it's up to you. So Karen, you're in alchemy too. Yeah, right. I get that there's aspects of value in it. I just don't think it's the end-all be-all, right? So I don't think magnetism is the end-all be-all. Is it everything in the world electromagnetic? Yes, and so it's bigger than they tell us. But is that the thing? No, to me it's the creator that's the thing, and the creator made the thing. And so I can study the thing and be really into it, and it helps me understand the world. But to me, the understanding of the world comes from the creator, right? That's the way I see it. if someone else sees it different, am I going to tell them that they're wrong? No, I mean, it would be wrong for me because I don't see it that way. But I can't tell them how to walk out their journey. So I think, that's where I just, oh gosh, it hurts me to see people attack each other for reasons of belief. And there does seem to be a certain amount of ego involved, but that we sort of anthropomorphize our beliefs into, we identify with. So that's another little trick they've played on us, right? So people who like to do certain things in the bedroom, that becomes their identification for who they are, right? They're, I've made jokes before and people beat me up for making jokes about it, for saying, hey, I'm Baldini and I like to do blah, blah, blah. So that shouldn't be the definition. Okay, from my view, that shouldn't be the definition of who you are as a person, what you like to get your freak on, right? Are you a good person? I don't care. I don't care where you put your, right? I mean, it may not be my thing, but all right, whatever. Even if there are things that I think are unhelpful, see, most of the way I view things are not, again, judgmental in terms of good or bad. It's usually, is it efficient? Is it effective? Is it helpful? For example, I had a guy who confessed to me I was kind of in a pastoral role, that he was having an affair. And he was super guilt-ridden about it. And he was afraid I was going to judge him. I'm like, well, why would I do that? Like, that's silly. We've all done things, and this is one. It's very understandable. Everybody wants to be loved, and we get, we're driven by our fleshly passions and desires, and that's the natural part of life. Those things happen. And I said I would say it's not very efficient, right? What's going to happen is everybody's going to get hurt. Right, that's the trouble, is that your current partner is going to be hurt and feel betrayed. No matter how this goes, even if it works out with the new person, the other person, that separation is always painful. Nothing good can come of it. So, again, it's not judgment. It's not like I think that he's a bad person. In fact, I thought the better of him for being honest and for the fact that it troubled his conscience rather than justifying it. We all err, right? I guess what I'm saying is I just don't see things that way. If someone disagrees with me, it doesn't mean I think that they're bad. Sometimes I may think that they're mistaken, right? Or I just don't see it that way. But even if I completely disagree, again, I'm not even trying to set myself as an example. I'm just saying these are the way that I see it. I would love to see more compassion and understanding for people. It hurts me and bothers me, I think. And then I comment on this, that it bothers me to see people unkind to one another. And even then I get some harsh comments about unplug, don't get off the internet and don't watch the news. Come on, man. You know what I do, and you know why I'm here. And much of what I do now in terms of like Poppycock Report and stuff is specifically to help alleviate the tension and to help walk people through the fact that we can laugh at their nuttiness, right? That they are lying to us, but we can laugh. It's a mockery. I don't take those things to heart. What I do take to heart is it's hard to see people being unkind to one another. So that bugs me, and I can't not look at that. I can't look away, because if I do, then I think I'm ignoring the purpose for which Dad has me here, at least right now, which is to try to help this community grow and to support one another. That's, if I can do anything, it'd be that. I don't know how effective that is right now, but I would like to think that it is. I'd like to think that we're all growing together and trying to find a way out of the system as best we can. I'm not naive. Eventually they will come. Right? I saw a meme this week about the guy who says, I don't want anything more to do with politics. I'm going to go out in the woods by myself. Right? And then the FBI shows up and it's got the Ruby Ridge sign on there. Right? They just can't stand it. There's no opt-out. And if there's no opt-out, of course, the government is supposed to derive its power from the consent of the governed. And if there is no consent, and if there's no opt-out, then it's coercion. You don't have a choice. By virtue of the fact that you're born in a certain location, you don't have any choice into who you have to serve. It's preposterous. And so if there is no opt-out, if there is no way to decline consent, that's tyranny. And yet, although it's guaranteed to us as a right that if our form of government needs a revision, review, and revise, that if every man, woman, and child in the United States showed up at the Capitol building to peacefully, not even demand, but to request, that we do just that. This isn't working. We're not comfortable spending 60% of the tax money, which is theft, on weapons of death. We're not into that. So let's not do that, shall we? They would immediately use those tools on us to prevent it. Because power for its own ends. They're absolutely never going to let go of power. Although it is our guaranteed right to do so. And I've been saying this, all along. This is another place Crow and I disagree. He thinks that he seems, I can't really speak for him, but from our conversation, he seems to sort of hold this high, lofty thing for the Constitution. I agree that it is beautifully elucidated the promise of the rights that we are promised, but they've never delivered. That's my point. They're faithless. We can't count on them to deliver that. We don't. They say it's your right, but even now you can go to the ACLU website, and they will show you a map of a Constitution-free zone. You see, again, since the war between the states, I don't like calling it a civil war, since the war between the states, at the end of that, all citizens were declared enemy combatants. You are the enemy of the state, according to them. And to prevent any skullduggery and bad things from happening, they made a Constitution-free zone within 100 miles of any port. Well, that was updated in the 1980s to include airports. So that means any place within 100 miles of an airport is a Constitution. The Constitution effectively is suspended. Right now, that includes about 96% of the continental United States. So there's always a gotcha. And that's just one. There's dozens of ways that they can say it doesn't apply right now. So it's a promise that's never delivered. It's the carrot that you can never get. It's a lie. We've been lied to. All of us. And the problem becomes when we believe different versions of the lie. Yeah, you see, you thought it was the coastline, but it's a port, right? And they updated that in the 1980s to include airports. So there you go. That would be pretty much, it's hard to get 100 miles away from any airport. See, that's the gotcha. So I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news this morning. I really am not. Again, this is just a chat between us. And I'm not going after anybody. I'm not saying, again, I think Jaron or Crow are wrong. I mean, I agreed with both of them. They both had absolutely valid points. Jaron, and that this is the way it's designed is it's a different form of currency, just like any other. Right? It's like, well, you spend dollars. Why would you not spend this? Why are you so afraid of it? Well, again, it's not fear. It's kind of what it represents. It's digging deeper in. Right? It's not natural, and they want us to accept an unnatural world. We're already, kind of there. They take steps ever closer. I'm just not willing to dig deeper into that, and that's my choice, right? So again, I think both had valid points. I hate to see, and really, honestly, everybody was respectful to one another. I don't think there's any I hope there's not any hard feelings between anybody on it, but I saw much more in chat and in comments on those things afterwards. People calling each other shills and that sort of. It's like, man, just because we see it differently, because this one really comes down to values. What do you value, right? Like I don't value material things right now. And I haven't for quite a long time. money has always been a means to an end for me. And, I've never had a great attitude toward collecting it. Some would say it's an unhealthy relationship with money, but really it's a means to an end. I try to give where I can. I enjoy traveling and that sort of things, and to enjoy life. Again, I can't take it with me, and I don't try to hoard or take it from anybody else. That's just not my way. And I always thought, well, if I need more, I'll just make more, because that was always an option. Later in life, that became less of an option as things changed, because I was less willing to do what was necessary to get it. And most of the time, you sort of have to sell your soul. I mean, maybe not directly, but for example, me working for large manufacturers, when I say that I will not, under any circumstances, lie, well, that comes into conflict. With sometimes their marketing. You have to be disingenuous at times to toe the party line. And I'm unwilling to do that for anybody. So, so I'm willing to do, I take that hit. I understand the results of that, the unintended consequences of having ethics. But I sleep like a baby. My wife will tell you this, that few people get to sleep faster than I do. My conscience is clear. I know that I'm not harming people. Could I do better? Yeah, in everything. I'm not anywhere near perfect, nor do I claim to be. I'm just a guy trying to figure it all out. But there are some things that I feel have been successful for me, and I'll share those things with people who are interested. That's all. And we seem to all have a way of looking at things that we understand the nature of the fact that we've been lied to for a very long time about everything, which is pretty scary to some people. But those of us in our family here, we generally accept, and sometimes we disagree on the nature of those lies and what the truth actually is once you strip the lie away. We should have different ideas, right? That's what makes us individuals. We should embrace that. And this is why I look for the community of the like-minded, so I can try to escape those people. So again, as I said before, I'm not naive enough to think that we're going to have this little utopia and they'll leave us alone. But we should have a little bit of time, and hopefully we can develop the skills necessary that when the shit really hits the fan, we can maybe go a little further out into a place where they're they're less likely to come after us. It's just not worth it, right? So that's what I hope. That's what I envision. Is that we can develop the skills here in multiple groups of like-minded. And Rob, did I fuck it up? I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. But and even in that, I think that there are going to be people. I think a bunch of small groups are probably better than one big major group, for a variety of reasons, right? So if they're small and viral, it's much harder for them to come, cells. It's what you always do is little cell groups, so they can't take down the whole thing. But also, there are going to be people who tend to coalesce a little bit better, right? And this is, for example, those who are super into alchemy and that sort of stuff probably going to do better together than those who are, more oriented toward Christianity, or those who are more oriented toward, whatever, different kinds of things. Not that there should be animosity between them, but that there might be, conflict of some kind. Again, not hostility, but just differences of opinion when it comes to doing things. There are going to be people who just, people get along sometimes better with, some people than others. That's fine. It's to be expected. I don't think there should be any snottiness about it or any condescending toward others who have different beliefs. Just that, again, if we keep them fairly small, under 300, which still is pretty big, but, then, yeah, I'm into all of it too, right? That's where I'm at. I'm interested in all of it. So, because it's all information. And I love information. I want to know everything, right? It's just, ultimately, I have my view, right, is that I'm going to worship the Creator rather than the creation. But I want to know all the things that I can know because it's helpful. Um, I don't want to belabor the point there. But I do want to, I guess, make a note of that. We're actively looking for places to be. It was a really cool listing for a 33 acres. I know, Illuminati confirmed, right? With 23 acres, 25 acres, I think, that was underground. It was had been, it was huge. It was awesome. And that was in Missouri. However, it drew a lot of interest as soon as we started talking about it. And when you look at it, I would have had to seen geological survey of that, because if they wanted to, if it was not a natural cavern and it was not man-made cavern, I would certainly want to know that it's going to be stable enough and not have any issues there. But also, it was apparently very near a floodplain, and that would that would make things very bad if you're underground and it floods. So apparently we weren't meant to be there. But as I look more closely, I mentioned earlier that I look for signs and clues and everything. That's just it's one of Dad's ways of communicating with me. That I keep my eyes open, and there will be confirmation of this and that. But recently, there's been, and again, we should know this already because Cammie and I had this conversation. Cammie and Zach and I had this conversation at Flattoberfest, right? It seemed like Dad was nudging me out in that direction. But I was open to anything. It just seemed like the Southeast. Of late, it does seem like there's been several in a row, just ding, 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 of South Carolina. I have no idea why. I've got no connection to that other than, again, Cammie and Bob and Zach and Karen and those folks who are there already, and Ted. But that's not, it just seems like it's being, that's ringing the bell. So it seems like that's maybe where I'm headed. Why? I don't know. I guess, yeah, Cammie, I think he does. I think he does want me there. And I'm just going to follow that, even without knowing why, because I trust Dad. Now, if you're dead set that you want to go to Arizona or Texas or Alaska, again, I encourage, start these groups, right? Let's do it together, separately together, but where we can trade these ideas. I just think that it would be superb to have a whole bunch of little poppy peepers all over the place, where people can go and even kind of bounce between them, right? Between winter time, summertime, whatever, a loosely associated group of people, kind of an underground railroad, if you will, of truthers, wherever you are, you're not too far away from the poppy cult. I think that would be terrific, and I support that idea. I think it would actually has a better chance of succeeding doing that way, and that when mistakes are made, we can share with each other how we fixed it, until ultimately we work out really smooth operation. That's kind of the way I envision it. And again, I feel like, I'm not in charge. It's not my thing. I just feel like I'm going to follow Dad through this, and it seems like that's where he's going. So I'm going to follow. That's who I am and what I'm going to do. I would love to see you guys there too. Not twist anybody else's arms, but have gotten a whole bunch of interest, a lot of emails from people who are ready to exit society the way that's been given to us, and to be with like-minded people and just live and be happy. That's all we really want. So, moving in that direction, I've begun packing. I hope to take care of these health issues, probably why I'm having them now. Get it out of the way so that we can continue on. So we got that going for us, which is nice. I think there was other things I wanted to talk about today, but it just started off kind of weird and kept going in that direction, as weird can be. But I'm so appreciative of each of you, so thankful. You've been so kind as I've been dealing with these health issues, all the other stuff that goes along with it. I really can't thank you enough. From just encouragement and prayers and nice comments to sending things and extracts and a variety of things to try to help. Thank you so much. You guys are just so awesome. I'm so grateful for all of you. It's my encouragement today that we give each other grace and compassion, and to not immediately dismiss those who otherwise are good people because they have different beliefs, even if they're normies. If you cast them aside, it just reinforces what they think about the Tinfoil Hat Club, right? I've mentioned before, it was one of my pieces of advice for my kids on dating. First, ignore everything they say and look only at what they do. Probably work pretty well for politicians. Right? Ignore everything they say and look only at what they do. That tells you what you need to know. The second part is, whatever you set the bar for the type of person that you want as your partner, you owe it to them to be at least that quality of a person yourself, or you're stealing from them. It's an unfair trade. So you need to be, at a minimum, the quality of person that you hope to get, or better. So to that degree, if you are that quality of person, you will draw that quality of person to you and around you. So that's my observation. Weird, FEMA Region 5 mentions Heaven's Gate. I just watched a whole series of their exit interviews last week. It's bizarre. Kind of heartbreaking, too. But very informative. Very interesting. Yeah, not that kind of cult. I promise. I want to share this with you before we go. It's probably could be best saved for tomorrow, but I'm just going to do it now anyway. A couple of chapters of Psalms, because it seems apropos to the time. Do you have any questions or comments in the chat that I can address before we go? Because I'm going to wrap up here in a moment. And by the way, we got beautiful snow over the weekend. I was going to go out to Ceiling Fan Man's place, and turns out, big snowstorm. But he waved me off before I had to cancel, so thank you. Thank you for sparing me that. I was beginning to feel like NASA, just kicking the can down the road. All right. So I'm going to read a little bit of the Psalms here, a couple of chapters out of Psalms. I just thought it was apropos for the day. So I hope you receive it in the spirit in which it's intended. Hear this, people. Listen, everyone who lives in this world, both low and high, rich and poor alike. My mouth will speak words of wisdom. The meditation of my heart will give you understanding. I will turn my ear to a proverb. With the harp I will expound my riddle. Why should I fear when evil days come, when wicked deceivers surround me? Those who trust in their wealth and boast of their great riches. No one can redeem the life of another, or give to God a ransom for them. The ransom for a life is costly. No payment is ever enough, so that they should live forever and not see decay. For all can see that the wise die, and the foolish and the senseless also perish, each leaving their wealth to others. Their tombs will remain their houses forever, their dwellings for endless generations, even though they'd named lands after themselves. People, despite their wealth, do not endure. They are like beasts that perish. This is the fate of those who trust themselves, and their followers who approve their sayings. They are like sheep and are destined to die. Death will be their shepherd, but the upright will prevail over them in the morning. Their forms will decay in the grave, far from their princely mansions. But God will redeem me from the realm of the dead. He will surely take me to himself. Don't be overwhelmed when others grow rich, when the splendor of their houses increase, for they will take nothing with them when they die. Their splendor will not descend with them. Though while they live, they count themselves blessed, and people praise you when you prosper. But they will join those who have gone before them, who will never again see the light of life. People who have wealth but lack understanding are like the beasts that perish. Psalm 49. Why do you boast of evil, you mighty hero? Why do you boast all day long, you who are a disgrace in the eyes of God? You who practice deceit, your tongue plots destruction. It is like a sharpened razor. You love evil rather than good, falsehood rather than speaking the truth. You love every harmful word, you deceitful tongue. Surely God will bring you down to everlasting ruin. He will snatch you up and pluck you from your tent. He will uproot you from the land of the living. The righteous will see and fear, and they will laugh at you, saying, "Here now is the man who did not make God his stronghold, but trusted in his wealth and grew strong by destroying others." But I am like an olive tree, flourishing in the house of God. I trust in God's unfailing love forever and ever. For what you have done, I will always praise you in the presence of your faithful people. And I will hope in your name, for your name is good. Psalm 52 and 53. The fool has said in his heart, "There is no God." They are corrupt and their ways are vile. There is no one who does good. God looks down from heaven on all mankind to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. But everyone has turned away. All have become corrupt. There's no one who does good, not even one. Do all these evildoers know nothing? They devour my people as though eating bread. They never call on God. But there they are, overwhelmed with dread when there was nothing to fear. God scattered the bones of those who attacked you, and you put them to shame, for God despised them. Fairly prescient of the world around us. They are overwhelmed with dread when there is nothing to fear. Thank you, friends, for being here with me, for your kind words, your encouragement, and your encouragement for one another. It's one of the most beautiful things I've seen is that you guys take care of one another. It's outstanding. One last little bit is I'll try one more time. I don't have much hope that it'll work out, but I'll pitch it out there one more time. So upcoming March 27th now. It was scheduled originally for the 20th, but now it's the 27th. There was an opening for the Solar Return. Karen B has as a follow-up to the Flattoberfest. decided not to wait until October. So Solar Return coming up at exactly the same place in the belly of the beast in South Carolina at the lovely Shriners place. So let me pull that up here. Greenville Shrine Club and Event Center. Let's see here. Let's show you what's happening here. All right. So, Greenville Shriner Club and Event Center. There it is. Southeast corner of the United States. So, yeah, I'm up here in Seattle, and so if I take that, and so 41 hours-ish, that's actually about a 4-day trip, something like that. If I road trip it, I just don't know if I can handle a plane. Again, I just don't know if I can. Oh, I hit the wrong one here. I was trying to hit that one. No call in right now. Let's see. All right. There that is. Okay. So, I was thinking about making a road trip of it, and I thought I'd seen Witsit and Nathan in their RV, and I thought, God, wouldn't that be terrific? You can rent an RV and just make a crazy road trip and pick up people on the way and just have a freaking party. I thought that would just be just epic badassery. It is, however, not super cheap. In fact, the cost of the mileage actually slightly exceeds the cost of the rental. Just a quick bit of math, somewhere probably you're looking at about $6,000, something like that. But if we split it up amongst the number of people, it's about the same price as what you might spend for airfare and hotel. So that's a possibility. Hadn't got much response. Dave Weiss said, "Yeah, I'm in," except for he's over here on the East Coast, right? So if you're interested in that, you can send me an email. And I know, right? It's not cheap, but $500 a piece, something like that. It's, like I said, it's similar to the cost of a flight and a hotel. But it's you're looking at a probably minimum 10-day turnaround time at a minimum. The whole thing probably more like 12 to 14 days. To do it that way. However, if there's not enough interest, and I understand it, there wouldn't be. If I do road trip it, maybe still, swing down here, grab my friend Sue, maybe one or two other people. Maybe I can get a SUV or something like that and try to do that. So, Aether travel, right? I love that. If I could just teleport, that'd be super great. I'd be all over that. So, anyway, so there's that. If you're interested in something like that, hit me up. And if we get enough people and we can try to work it out, we'll see what we can end up with. But right now, I'm considering trying to make a road trip of it. It may not work out. I may just have to bite the bullet and fly. I just do not fucking want to wear a mask. And they put this new bullshit on there, for public transportation. It's just horse poop. It's pissing me off. I just don't know. It crush my soul. Anyway, but if we can make it, anyway, send me your ideas. I just had this idea of it would be epic to get an RV because you can rent them and make a trip out of it. It'd just be awesome. But if it doesn't work out, again, we'll maybe try to road trip. Again, clearly a little bit cheaper, but there's going to be stops along the way, that sort of stuff. So anyway, hit me up if you're interested in that, and I will try to work out a itinerary. I'm willing to, does the train, yes, it's public transportation. Otherwise, I would consider that. It takes even longer, but if you've never traveled by train long distance and got a sleeping car, oh man, it's very, very cool. I've taken the Starlight Coast up and down the West Coast several times. It's awesome. Just terrific. One of the best travel experiences. It's a really really excellent time. So that was a possibility. But anyway, we'll see. I'm just trying to make it work out. So we got that going, which is nice. So there's that. Oh, I promised I would tell this joke. So if you're sensitive to off-color humor, I suggest you mute for about 90 seconds as I tell this joke. It's what I call it's the world's best Protestant joke. All right, you ready? Okay, here we go. A priest and a rabbi walking down the street. 10-year-old boy walks in front of him. Priest looks over at the rabbi and goes, "Boy, wouldn't you like to fuck him?" Rabbi goes, "Out of what?" Out of what? All right, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll probably burn from that one. No, Dad forgives me, but I probably should not. I probably should not do that. But anyway, let's see here. Join me tomorrow. Ancient Wisdom for a Modern World coming up at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Read some Proverbs. Do a little noodling. Hopefully everything will work. So sorry about the way it started. It's just indicative of what this week and the last couple of months have been like. Anyway, you guys are awesome. I can't really fully elucidate how much I care for you guys. I really, truly love you. I know it seems odd. Those who are not among us, we must seem as fools to those who are not among us. Joe would get that. But they would say we're nuts, but I really do love you guys. The time that we've spent together, it's been epic and life-changing for me. Thank you. And thanks for being here so regularly and being such great people. Truly impressed with each and every one of you. Truly. And I can't wait to spend more time with each of you and hopefully in person. Hopefully we'll get to do that more and more. I'll leave you now with a little tunage, as I often do. Let's see what I can come up with. What do you think, Joe? I only have a few. I think I'll drop this one in here. I'll do the original version here of In Your Eyes. Joe Ray in the chat on guitar. Jim Rogers, the late Jim Rogers, on drums, backing vocals. And I'm playing keys and bass and backing vocals. Deanna Smith on lead vocals. Let me just, thank you, Ceiling Fan Man. I appreciate that. I would be remiss if I did not include in Shelton, Washington, on the 20th. So the original day was scheduled. There's going to be a meetup in Shelton, Washington. You can get information from Ceiling Fan Man. I'll try to have all the information tomorrow in both streams, both Ancient Wisdom and Sola Scriptura. We'll have that information for you. So I plan to be there. Ceiling Fan Man's coming. I think even Mark Surgeon's coming. So it should be a wackadoodle time. So, it is an incredible group of people, more than I expected. It's blowing me away. And I think proof to me, clear evidence, that Dad is involved here. It seems supernatural to me that people are drawing together. And it's also, I think, indicative of what time it is, for what it's worth. All right, you nutty kids. I'm going to get out of here, and I will see you tomorrow. Whoops, let me do this. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. on the West Coast, 10 a.m. on the East Coast, 9 Central, and UTC -7 for those of you crazy folks over there. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks for putting up with me, and I'm sorry about the false start this morning and all the issues. Hopefully my health stuff will get worked out. I'm very grateful already for that it's not, cancer. It looked like for a minute it might be a bunch of stuff there. Like it could be a bunch of things, but it does seem like it's treatable and get the things fixed up and we'll get all together. So those are if you're going to pray for me, the two things first, of course, the gallbladder stuff is immediate, but also the dental stuff I got to get worked out. Unpleasant, painful, and embarrassing. Anyway, and also just that our tribe continues to take care of one another and to manifest around us the positive intention and the love. It's a beautiful thing, and I can't wait to see more of it. Thanks so much. And be blessed. Right? I'll leave you with this. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be